On today's Minute of the Apes, Todd is reliving his childhood.
Captain Crunch, the greatest cereal ever made. So much so that it's not Captain, it's Cap'n.
Cap'n
Crunch.
Captain Crunch. I'm living mine is with gin.
Well, you
Lots of gin.
had childhood.
2 years sticking paws off me, you damn dirty ape! Exercise with an ape maker, human doll. It talks. We're the keepers of the divine bond. It is our only reason for survival. We are determined to know what the apes want, war or peace. The only good human is a dead human!
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, a daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time, as we relive our childhood.
Yeah.
So, Richard, do we need to begin talking about your childhood with Cap Morgan's?
No, we can relive it with talking about marijuana if you want to. It's probably more alcohol than marijuana.
Your name is Richard. Hi, Richard.
Hi, everybody.
I like breakfast.
We're seriously.
It was my favorite drink of the morning.
Abby loves a yogurt place in Allen where we live that I used to take her to because
frozen
they had
yogurt or like
frozen
okay,
yogurt.
Yeah.
She loved to go there, and I would go because they had Captain Crunch to put on it. And all of a sudden, they quit putting it out for you to put on there. And I said, "Why?" Because it's 13 cents more expensive than Fruit Loops. And I was like,
"Here's a dime."
Yeah, are you kidding me?
All right. So my husband's mom used to work at Taco Bell.
Okay.
And so he is familiar with portions and value
Pricing
proportions.
and everything, yeah.
And so when you go to restaurants, those things are, and if anybody's listening who works in a kitchen, you might understand this or might know better than I do. Everything is down to those things.
Oh, I'm sure.
Everything is down to an ounce, a cup, a portion of this,
Dollop
of that.
or whatever, yeah.
Right. Every spice is measured. Every single thing that goes into some type of meal, whether it's plated or whatever, everything has to be done. So I don't fault them for saying, hey, it's 3 cents more. They've done some math.
Yeah. But at the end of the
that
day,
has to be bigger than just like an individual location. That's got to be like on a chain level.
But at the end of the day, you end up with Taco Bell, though, right? Measures, price out, everything.
Point.
You still get Taco Bell.
No, but it really comes down when you're dealing at a dish and you're making pennies off of something.
I agree, but at the same time, okay, so I told him, well, I won't be eating it anymore. So, your pennies, you're not getting anything from me anymore. You're not, I hate to say it, that was half of what I enjoyed. I enjoy vanilla flavors, and you put a little Captain Crunch on it. It was that perfect combination of the two. I don't buy anything anymore.
Right, but if they switch to Fruit Loops and they lose 3 cents or they gain 3 cents a meal, but they only lose one customer, they still made money.
I'm going to rock their entire business.
He's starting the protest. He's starting the website right now.
Boycott them.
Let's talk about cancel culture that I just kind of delved into last week.
Hey, wait, aren't we talking about Minute of the Apes?
That's right. Okay, we're on to
hey.
minute 70. Sean,
All right.
tell us what's going on with minute 70 of Escape from the Planet of the
We
Apes.
start minute 70 with Cornelius leaving Zero to go get help and ends with the president saying he has no doubts that Hasline could persuade people that the apes could be mass murderers in the future.
You having a baby girl? Bye.
So I'll throw out the warning that I like to give everyone in these moments. The first part of this minute is relatively silent. I promise it's playing. When we get to the president, you will hear it. But here you go, minute 70 of Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Were they armed?
No, I don't believe so.
Then, when they're found, there's no need for a shooting match, is there?
Well, not strictly speaking, no.
I am speaking strictly, Hasline. Science regards these apes as unique. The people regard them as practically human.
Then, Mr. President, the people must be told that the killers of today could become the mass murderers of tomorrow.
Of course they must, Hasline, and I can think of no one better equipped emotionally than yourself to persuade them of that possibility.
All right, as of minute 70, we have a planet's worth of humans plus 2 living apes, 1 who's pregnant and almost due, and 1 dead ape.
Is there anything that needs to be said about Zira in this minute that we haven't already?
Well, first of all, why didn't she put up a fight to keep Cornelius from leaving? It just seemed like, I'm going to go get help. No, don't go. Bye. Okay, I'm just going to sleep on my bag now.
It's the listeners heard it. It's 20 seconds of him shuffling off in the bushes, her feeling in pain, reaching for her carpet bag, pulling it over. Now, I'll give you this: the carpet bag finally has a purpose.
So now she's a true carpetbagger.
But when we complain about the suitcase, right? A lot. It had their clothes in it, but it also has for all the baggage that's been this entire movie.
Ooh, really?
The moment is now for her to rest her head on it, and she pulls it to her. But it's 20 minutes of her kind of overacting, like, "Oh, I'm gonna hurt. Oh, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna pull it over. I'm gonna put my head on it." It could have been a little more of a touching moment than it was. It really relied upon Kim Hunter to make this moment
and I
worthwhile.
blame Don Taylor for this because there's
the shot could have been better.
Yeah, there's nothing of Don Taylor stepping in and saying, "Okay, Kim, here's what we're going to do, and I'm going to come in close to this camera, and you really dial back what you do." There was none of that. Instead, it was almost like, "Hey, I'm 30 feet away, so can you take up the acting through the roof?"
Well, it felt like a stage moment versus a movie moment.
Exactly.
Well, they should have just gone full Disney. Had a little doe come up to her, smell her, curl up, lay down next to her. A little bird
if it
flies
smelled her, would it fall over and die?
Yeah.
Well, we're at this moment we're really supposed to be feeling what Zira's feeling. We're really supposed to be feeling this moment where she needs to kind of comfort herself by her familiar thing, which is her carpet bag.
But again, if
luggage.
she'd been fighting for Cornelius to stay, it would have made it more like she's alone now.
It would have evoked
more desperate,
more emotion from him as well.
Yeah,
it's a scene that could have had more impact than it did.
Right,
and I would have liked that because I'm a Zira fan.
I think we all are.
I have been since movie 1.
Right,
and I
want
Team
Zira. All right,
I'm Team Zira. And what she's going through, and this moment needed a little bit more of that sympathetic. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't what it could.
It's a missed opportunity.
Couldn't have had the power that it has.
Yeah.
So then we have a really you complain about hard cuts. We go literally from Zira putting her head on her pillow to the president
to the Oval Office. Yeah.
And again, they're doing the same thing they did before. You're in an office. The lights are f***ing on. Why is it dark in the president's Oval Office? Just because they want us to convince it's nighttime. The last 5 minutes and the next 40 in darkness, everybody's at nighttime. And so even inside buildings, they pull the lights down. It's different than the modern take of night outside, we have a desk lamp. They're literally just dimming the lights. And I'm like, you've got some lights on. I mean, I'm just ranting over lighting. It may be Friday. It may be the fact that I'm feeling my oats and I'm ready to go out and have a weekend, but right now I'm kind of mad about this dim lighting in an office situation.
I was trying to think of any reason. So you've had the down moment, even though it's not staged well with Zira. Is there any reason you want to bring the lights down? Because are they trying to convey contemplative? We're truly hashing out what we're going to do against the apes,
or more ominous settings. Yeah,
and if you just do it in a regularly lit Oval Office that is night out, it feels too official. This is two people talking to each other. And I was brought to mind when Sean said it would have been nice if the president and Haslan almost had some kind of personal relationship, why he was an appointee to this position.
And why he's putting so much faith in his
the president could have just, he Haslan calls him Mr. President. He could have said whatever his first name is. You could have said, to call me when we're alone.
It's Robert or whatever.
Robert, yeah. Something like that would have helped to explain. I agree with you, and that's why I'm like, I think that's what they were trying to do. Well, it doesn't entirely work.
Was it common at this time to use? Honestly, modern TV will use a desk lamp.
But no,
modern TV will use some type of low lit light to kind of bring illumination that they're in a darkened office and they're having a conversation. They just dimmed the lights down and changed the way that it's shot. Was it common at this time to use that though?
Well, I don't know about this time, but if you watch TV now, especially if it's more like a practical set where they're in a hospital or something, you will see that they have neon lights all in the ceilings, and they never ever turn them on. Maybe they'll have one on, but all the rest of them are off. In a real hospital, every one of those damn lights would be on 24/7. You're never turning them off.
Right.
But they want them a more cinematic look to it, so they don't light it naturally. They take lights down to make it look better.
But when they do the darkened office, what they'll do is they'll have the shades turned a little bit in the office. The lights will be off in the office, and we're getting light from the neon out from the fluorescence outside in the hallway. That the person is not in their office, but they're really in their office. I mean, I guess that's what they're trying to evoke with this, with everything being shot at nighttime.
Yeah. I think that it had that middle of the night, I've woken up the president to let him know the horrible things that are going on.
He's still in his day wear.
But that's what I was going to say, is this, if this is not a budget-minded movie, then you take that and you put it in another part of the White House.
He would have been in the bedroom. You would have seen him answer the phone. Somebody would have brought a phone to him. You see him pick him up, and he's upset.
He's in the kitchen having dinner. Or
he's in his jammies, something.
Right.
Yeah, something. He's in the kitchen. He's having dinner. He's being interrupted by dinner, where he's being pulled in.
But this movie is so literal in what they do to convey the president. It's almost like, again, because of budget reasons, you may not have a room to put him in, but you could still go to some really fancy hotel and use their kitchen as though he's sitting in the kitchen. And you could even have a servant come out and go, "Mr. President, do you have everything?" I'm fine. And he's eating. Anything like that would have conveyed this more than what they've done.
I will say that this scene cemented to me that the president is my favorite character of this movie.
He's the most rational
because he's the most pragmatic.
Yes, he is.
He's the most pragmatic. He recognizes he can't negate Hassline, but he also recognizes the popularity of the apes. We never really know whose side he's on.
He's on his side. Let's be honest. We know. We talked about this. He's a politician.
He's very
concerned
much
about
politician.
the next 4 years, maybe the next 8, and that's where his line of sight ends.
And in terms of the popularity of the apes, that makes him a good guy.
Because right now they're popular. So
he's the only one who's keeping Hassline somewhat in check.
So how many scenes does the president have? He has this one. He has the one which is the broad group of people. Is there anything other than those two
prior to this?
Yeah, I think it's just
those two scenes.
Maybe
no,
3.
He has the cigar smoking moment with Hassline alone in his office, which is really where he's like,
"You're right."
He's putting Hassline in check.
Yeah,
all right, cool.
down,
you want to do that? Cool, we'll do this. You want to do that? Okay, well, cool, do that. You need to prove this to me before we go any further.
I'm going to tell you then why they shot this and lit it the way they did. I guarantee you that's 3 minutes roughly. And what do we say that on average this production had to almost put 3 minutes of film in the can a day? That actor probably was only on set for 1 day,
and they maybe
2.
They did, yeah.
Kept him in the same costume, and they said we need to find a quick way to make this feel different. Bring the lights down as though it's night. That's all they thought about.
Yeah,
and they're cranking him in and out. And I mean, there's no reason they couldn't do same set, dim lights, and do those quickly. And they probably got ahead on that day.
Yeah.
That's he's a good actor. He's going to nail his lines. It probably didn't take many takes to get it right. There's not a lot of camera movement in it, right?
They did change a line in this. There's not a lot of it's we see the back of him, and then we see the front of him, the president, and then we see Hassline. We see Hassline in an office on a phone. Mm-hmm. The secretary from a minute ago, 2 minutes ago,
2 minutes ago, yeah.
She basically has called the president, and that's when Hassline goes in. There's like an entire moment of that whole thing. So when the gurney gets wheeled out and Dixon and Hassline are in the office, they don't necessarily like run out in the field. Hassline goes into the office and immediately calls the president. Mm-hmm. We don't get that sense from the action of the previous minutes, but that's basically what happened.
And so, speaking to your the president keeping Hassline kind of locked down a little bit, I do like the fact when they're talking about are the apes armed? No, they're not. So you don't need to shoot them. He's telling Hassline, take it back a notch. You're ready to go out there and lop their heads off the minute you see them. No, you're not allowed to do that.
No, he pulls Hassline back. He tells Hassline not to. President says, are they armed?
Well, I'd like to, not just not to, he makes it very unambiguous. Do not kill these people. Yeah, it's not if you're in trouble, take care of do what needs to be done. No, they're not armed, don't kill them.
So he says a line that, the president says a line that I find important. Science regards these apes as unique. The people regard them as almost human. So the president does say almost human. So he has some doubts in terms of who they are. But science regards these apes as unique. We can't just go out and shoot them. So to your point from Tuesday about whether we're going to dissect the apes or what we're going to do,
right.
The president sees value in having these apes around beyond just killing them for some future whatever. Hassan says, then the people must be told that the killers of today could become the mass murderers of tomorrow.